nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes from the June 15th meeting.
Before you all vote, you got a package of minutes, the minutes in your package. But my wife, who is now on council, approved the minutes in the package on Tuesday and pointed out about 4 typographical errors that I have corrected. And that way it doesn't have to be necessarily amended here. And so I've got a second copy that's got on the typewritten at the top saying this is the corrected copy. And if you vote those, then that's what's going to be passed.
He handed them out before the water board meeting.
Yeah,
So,
they're in that stack of papers you got.
so we have a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So we have a motion, do we have a second? Second. Mr. Brown seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Oh, Miller.
I do have a,
Okay, sorry.
I know it's in here, I just had to find it.
Sorry.
On the second page of the new one,
Okay.
down where it says, City Manager Jenkins and City Recorder Van Hook discussed a memorandum from Jason Mullen, Comptroller of the Treasury, as to there should be changes to the public meeting instead of the charges.
Okay.
I guess I missed that.
And I'd offer this too, with this spell check and stuff, if you dictate changes and the computer doesn't like it, it'll change it to charges. I mean, that's maddening. I've typed the word incorrectly myself and I watch it on the computer screen. The computer changes it because the computer thinks it knows more than I do about what I'm writing. So,
Sure, we did. Thank you, Mr. Miller. You're welcome. So,
Everything else
with that being said, do we have a motion to accept the change?
Yes.
Do we have a second from Mr. Brown? Second. Now, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Lisa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland.
Yes.
Passed.
This time, do we have any delegations from the citizens that would like to come forward? So the mayoral update, I'm thankful that I have Corey Jenkins as our city manager. Corey's been working diligently even through, I think, what, kidney stone number 13, 14?
Probably 12 or 13,
So,
6 surgeries.
Yeah, 6 surgeries. He had the surgery just a couple weeks ago. He's been diligently working on the budget and items that we are trying to address. So thankful for him, thankful for Wendy and the staff that we have here at City Hall, just putting in countless hours, just doing the mundane, unseen, making sure that the wheels continue to roll properly and down the tracks. So I appreciate all the hard work. It doesn't go unseen. I know that the street crew is understaffed right now. The inmates are down. Had a couple of them parole out, which is good. But it takes a while to get new guys in. So they're doing a good job. They got their hands full. And I know water, sewer, guys are fixing leaks. Police department, once again, finds themselves in a precarious situation where their officers down. They're doing a fine job patrolling. Thank you guys. Thank you, Chief, for stepping up, stepping in, and doing what needs to be done. So I just know this. I know that as the mayor, there is a heavy weight that comes and a heavy responsibility as we enter a new budget year, a new budget cycle, and you know, when you have 3,500 people that live in your town, when you make a decision, it doesn't just affect you, right? It affects each and every household in your town. And you have to think of the social, economically challenged, and you think of the ones who are not challenged. And you think of the ones who work 40 or plus 40 hours, 50, 60 hours to make ends meet. who live paycheck to paycheck. So as we deliberate and we think about what we're doing, there is a heavyweight. And we take that into consideration. And we don't make decisions flippantly or errantly, but we try to make sure that we have the best information available in front of us. And I know as the mayor, I'm a working mayor, okay? And I don't spend a lot of time at City Hall. But Corey and Chief, Rusty and Teddy will tell you, I talk to them a lot. And not only do I talk to them a lot, but I'll talk to other mayors of other towns, other county mayors, talk to CPAs, I talk to bankers, business owners, and I try to get their input. People that I respect, people that I know, people that I trust, to give input and guidance as to the best direction for this town. So we're never shooting from the hip. It's never just, well, he's making an errant or a flippant decision. That is brutally not ever the case. It is thoroughly searched, researched, an answer is sought that the town can know and rest assured that the best interest of every citizen is taken to heart. And you rest assured that this guy and that guy, we work tirelessly to make sure that we do just that for every citizen of our town. So, with that being said, I will pass the baton along to Mr. Corey Jenkins.
Thank you for the words, Mr. Mayor. It's an honor to be in this position. Kind of what we went through on the water, in the water meeting. Let's get to this page first. This is our general fund history. Get back up. Again, going back to 2007, 2008, this is all the audited data for the general fund. We left all the revenues on here. Again, your property taxes across the top. Again, 2007, 2008, 387,000. 2021-22, $654,813, and then you had a drop in 2022-23, which we'll talk about just a second. Big thing, again, we'll take these on, we'll look through them, mark it up. If you have any questions about those, get back with me. But go to page 3. So the big things that we want to look at is your revenues over expenses and then your cash position. You get a good idea of where you're at, where you've been, where you're going. Third page, all the way to the right, your 2019 and 20, $145,505 expenses over revenue. 2021, $121,296 expenses over revenue. 2021-22, $186,407 expenses over revenue, and you're trending for this past year a loss of $366,575. You ask why? Look at your expenses. Your expenses from 2016-17 were 1.8 million, and you're currently over 3.274 million. So that was addressed when building the budget. Extreme cuts were made. Every department was cut in some form or fashion. If you look at the very bottom, your fund balance, again, here's your cash position. You go back to 2019 and 20, you had $1,082,000 in cash. 2021, you had $1,036,000, and you started dropping. 21-22, you had $827,826, and this current year, $461,251, of which we used $212,000 of our ARPA funds for revenue replacement. So your real number is $249,000. Now, we do have $461,000 in cash. That is a true number. That's a true number, but just know that that is propped up with ARPA funds of $212,000. So that number should have been $249,000. So, looking at our budgets, obviously we had to address issues on both the revenue and expenses. Does anybody have any questions about those sheets? Again, take those home, look through them, mark them up.
Question, Corey.
Yes,
Those ARPA funds can't be spent just any way, right?
ARPA funds cannot, but I think we got $1.2 million in ARPA funding, of which $212,000 went to the general fund and $300,000 went to the water fund for revenue replacement, basically for wage replacement. So we used half of our ARPA money for revenue replacement. We didn't do any projects with that money.
So we used the 900,000 that went to the general fund for,
No, the 200.
sorry, 200.
$212,000.
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry, 200.
That was just revenue replacement that went to the cash account that we could use for whatever. You can use that for whatever, if that was appropriated for it, and it was.
Okay. So we're not out of line.
We're not out of line right
with
there.
ARPA,
I just hate that we
The way
use-
we've used the money.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The water fund was a different story. That's where the $475,000 is not supposed to be there.
So we had to take it out.
We're
put it
gonna
in
take
a
that out,
fund.
put it in an actual ARPA checking account.
That can only be used for like system upgrades.
Yeah, it has to be appropriated.
And don't they have to approve these projects?
Yeah, state funds, yes ma'am.
I mean, even though it's ARPA money, we have to present a project and they have to say, yes, you can spend this money
Yes ma'am, absolutely.
for this project.
But not the cash that was given to the general fund,
Yeah.
because it was for salary and wage reimbursement.
And that had to do with COVID, didn't it?
Yes.
It is. Yeah. Again, if you got any questions, call me, come see me. By all means, if there's something you don't understand.
And again, these numbers were just taken almost straight from the yearly audits that we turn into the state.
Let's look at the little property tax sheet that I gave you, letters. This has to do with your historical collection rate of your property taxes. Is everybody good? So don't be alarmed when you look at the very bottom, 2021, you've only collected 94.4% of the total collections. $36,744 in outstanding delinquent taxes. We're still collecting taxes from probably 2015-16. So if you look at your history, that number is going to be at a higher 99%, 99.5, 99.7. So that, I'm not too alarmed by that number there. But just keep in mind, you know, we're still going to collect on past property taxes, delinquent taxes.
So that number will go from like 94, in about 2 years or so, 3 years, that'll be, what, about 98, 99% as they continue to trickle in.
Now, if you remember on our budgets, when we're doing our budgets on property taxes, we were using a historical collection rate of 97%. So that's where that comes in.
And on delinquent taxes, you get penalty and interest too.
Yeah.
In some instances, attorney's fees, but if your collection amount's not strong enough, you actually will lose money on collecting property taxes through litigation.
Yeah. That's all I have at the moment right here. We'll go through the rest when we get to the budget under new business. Unless anybody has any questions.
Have another paper there, Mr. Jenkins?
We're good. No, we're good for right now.
All right. Mr. Miller?
No, sir, not this time.
Not this time. Mr. Brown?
That, the bridge over here at the high school, the piece of angle come loose. We've had
Yeah,
it,
that's, it was welded this morning. Yeah.
we welded this morning? Okay, well, thank you very much. You do any patching anymore? Fill in?
We haven't been.
I'm sorry?
We haven't been.
So you're not gonna do any,
Yeah, we're fixing to start that
Oh,
here, 2, 3, fairly soon.
I know down on where they expanded the turn there on Parnell, that bus made a big hole at the end of it. You needed some more asphalt in that.
Anytime like that, get me the addresses, because we're writing up the list.
That there on Parnell,
Yeah.
there's no address, it's just
Okay.
on the corner of Parnell and Jim Valley. That's all I have. Y'all did good work on this. I seen you out there bush hogging, and you got a little bit high, but I'm assuming you're gonna get the other side of the bridge when it don't rain us out.
Yeah.
Okay. Good work, good work. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Van Hook?
Nothing right now.
Mr. Holland?
Conviction inmates, how many we have right now?
2, is that correct?
I have two. I have one parole out and one flat in his sentence, and I'm waiting on the state to process more into being able to come out.
It's what, like a 30-day or 60-day process to get new inmates in?
60 to 90 days. yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Chief? And I will say this as he walks forward, and I appreciate the, Mr. Van Hook, our city recorder, he challenges me to rise to the occasion, and I appreciate that, Mr. Joe. I really do. Because it's easy for people to rubber stamp a yes. It is. And it's hard to, when someone challenges you to think and to reaffirm your position. And I appreciate that,
That's what I'm here for, that's what the good Lord put me here
for sure. Thank you.
I'm a resource tool for council, and part of the resource tool is to ask questions that others may not think to ask.
Correct. So, Chief?
The first topic I want to talk to you about, I want to introduce Officer Ashley Mays. Officer Mays come up before you for probation. She's a recent graduate of the Knox County's regional training facility. While going to the academy, she was the top of her class and received the academic award for the highest GPA. Also brought with a $5,000 scholarship to Bethel University.
Hello. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. I've received a lot of support not only from my department, but from the community, and I really appreciate the position and everything. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recommending her for hire, so.
Yes, sir.
So I'll make a motion. We have a motion, do we have a second? Do we have a second? Any discussion? Roll call, Joe.
And she's completed probation and
And the training.
full-time ready place. All right. Robert Melder,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Travis.
Welcome, Ms. May, thank you.
Sir?
Can you shoot?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Good enough.
Well, it's like the mayor said, talking to her and also Mr. Denton, she outdone a lot of men too in the academy.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay.
Second thing I want to bring before you is, if y'all remember a little while back, I told you about the Violent Crime Initiative Fund that the state has awarded us for $70,841. We come up with a thing that I talked to the mayor about on saving some money. So prior to my administration, we were paying about $15,000 a year for an ESOP program. We have now partnered with the Tennessee Highway Patrol to get this free. One of the things I put in for the VCIF grant was laptops, because currently the system we use is on iPads. And with the system we're going to, that we work with on the Highway Patrol, needs laptops. We're wanting to purchase these. I have found a company that I can purchase them for about $600 a piece, right around $610. And this will be a completely reimbursed money on this end. Won't cost us a dime other than having the upfront cost of them being reimbursed for it. However, it falls above my purchasing guidelines, so it being a total of $5,486.04, I'm coming to you to ask for permission to purchase these.
And you said it does get reimbursed, correct?
Yes, and these are not quarterly reimbursements, they're doing the VCI grant different. It's actually a workbook, so for every expenditure I get, I immediately submit it to the state for an ACH transfer back.
What's this called, a violent crime?
Initiative Fund. It's a VCIF grant.
So we have a motion.
Make a motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
That fell in my guidelines.
Ms. Van Hook seconds.
This is the only thing
Any discussion?
So as soon as you turn in invoices, the money comes right back to us, we're not out of pocket.
From what I've been explained, the way the workbook works is instead generally, like with THSO and a few of the grants, it's done quarterly. We do submittals. This actually has a workbook with basically, each section that I've applied for and I've been granted, I'll fill it out and go ahead and send it in, and then they, get with Ramona and do an ACH transfer.
Once that direct deposit stuff goes straight quick too.
And like I said, the total grants for over 70,000, but right now, until we get, farther into the year, we're only asking to do the laptops right now. This is something they've got to have right now for the issue citation.
Who got the most out of that grant, Chief?
It was by population and crime rate, so for our area, of course, Knoxville, and then it filtered down from that level, but it was an exact number that was given per city.
What was the exact amount of these laptops?
$5,486.04. They were $609.56 a piece. They generally range around $900 a piece.
You got enough paper, how many?
9.
9 of them? Does that cover everybody?
Yes, all the road officers.
Does that include motorcycles?
They will be able to take theirs out of their car and use it on the motorcycle. Everything transfers.
15 transfer.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Discussion. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller.
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook.
Yes.
Terry Hall.
Yes.
Passes.
The next thing right on that is the iPads that they are currently using, we purchased quite a while back. I'm asking to surplus those items.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
I second.
Discussion.
What will we do? Will they put them on, like on?
Good job.
Generally, what we would do is, kind of like what the federal and state government do, I'll talk with the mayor and with Corey. If there is a repurpose that we can use them for, then we will try and use them first, whether it's city workers, council, the library, something of that nature. If not, right now, the numbers I'm going to be giving the mayor and Corey are going to kind of be disturbing on them. For these iPads, AT&T has offered a turn-in for them at $40. And right now, they're selling on Gov Deals as sold for a little less than $60. So if we can repurpose them, I would rather do that because these are good, fully functioning, well-maintained iPads. They're the large iPad Pros. They can be used better than $40.
Right. For sure.
It's don't work.
Yes, sir.
All right, motion and second. Discussion. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller.
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook.
Yes.
Terry Hall.
Yes.
Passed.
I have another grant to talk to you about. It is one that we talked to the mayor a little while back. I haven't been able to bring it up to y'all. We were able to find a grant with TDOT called Love Tennessee Byways. This grant basically is trying to beautify any kind of state routes in the state of Tennessee. And the direction I would like to use this is talking to them about, kind of like what the mayor's already said, where we planted a tree and done a cleanup for downtown. We're looking at the area where we planted a tree across from Windrock Road on the boulevard, and then next to Windrock Road going to the city garage, trying to beautify the area. Right now, it's an 80-20 split grant. They will give up to $9,500 towards us. Our part will be just right around $2,000. Right now, preliminary numbers, we're looking at least 5 ADA compliant picnic tables, 5 fire pits, and 150 pounds of natural flower mix. Being able to plant around, basically for the areas around the creeks, on the sides of the roads, medians, things of that nature that we can, as far as we can make it.
How many fire pits?
5.
5 fire pits?
Yes, sir.
And what was the other one?
5 picnic tables and then 150 pounds of the wildflower seed. So what I'm asking for y'all today is just to apply for this grant.
And as the mayor, I would love for you all to say yes to this, I'm not gonna lie. So do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
I second.
Motion and second, any discussion?
That money has been accounted for in the new budget.
Thank you for it. Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
passed.
Thank you, council.
Final thing, do you have any questions on any of the data I've given you for the past month?
Thank you for that, Chief.
No problem, sir.
I really like that crash measure statistic sheet you gave.
That's what we use to kind of, between me and Cody, when we're, my captain, when we start trying to direct patrols and where we're doing enforcement THSO, that's where we drive that from. So while I had it up, I figured I would let y'all know, if you do see an increase of enforcement in areas, this is why we do that. You know, when we have, spot areas that are popping up with a lot of crashes, fatalities, more areas that have injuries, that's where we're going to kind of start putting them a lot. So I know sometimes when this data comes out that I've gave you, when they start running out Knoxville Highway, y'all get phone calls from certain other counties and jurisdictions while we're picking on them. Well, this is why. Right now, their area has increased significantly in crashes. Last month, it was at 166% increase. So that's why we're over there a lot right now.
What's the latest on motorcycles? Haven't seen them out.
We had one patrolling on his yesterday.
In other words, nothing wrong with either one of them, huh?
No, sir, not a thing.
So we're gonna run them from till August, September, what?
I've got one that plans on running it until it gets below 40 degrees, and then the other one is a little bit older, so he's a little bit higher on the temperature number.
And I hadn't seen them. I hadn't seen them on the road. I just wondered if there's something big or tore up or what.
No, sir, like I said, we had one out writing tickets yesterday. We've got several functions coming up that they'll be attending. And of course, like when we have September 1st, I'm not quite publicized this one yet to you, so I guess I need to now. September 1st, I know you used to see in the past, we would have sobriety checkpoints with the Tennessee Highway Patrol in Alder Springs. Due to COVID, that was shut down. We're doing it again. So I invite any of you guys who want to come and watch or be with the mayor when we're there. September 1st, we're going to be holding one from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Same location, Chief.
8 p.m.
PM.
That involve other jurisdictions, won't it?
Yes, sir.
Coming from Cofield, you had a lot of wrecks. Is that rear end?
It's a variety. You'll have some come in, you'll have rear ends. We've had some that are pulling out from the parking lot of the Winter Gap Plaza. We've had some actually completely drive off the road and down through into the ditch. Cell phones right now are the worst thing you can do in a car.
See him every day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Bennett?
So right before council meeting, I gave you guys, everybody, a packet. That's our call volume for the last 6 months. It's trending about where it needs to be, or what we expect. It's actually down about 100 calls this year compared to last year so far. But you figure up a dry season in the fall, it'll pick right back up on that. That's just mainly for your guys' information, just to see what we've been doing over the last little bit. 3 things I really need to bring to you tonight. One of them is I've got 3 new members that I would like to put on the department. Maggie Sewell, Riley Rehill, and Travis Crowley. All 3 of these have been coming around the department now for the past month. All 3 of them have already started their training. Two of them are looking at starting this fall into an EMS program, along with the one that I got just previously. There's two more there, so there'll be a total of 5 total. So I need a vote on putting these on the
Okay,
department.
run those names by me.
Maggie Sewell,
Okay.
Sewell, Riley Rehill, and Travis Crowley.
Spell Riley's last name.
Rehill.
H-I-L-L.
Yes.
To hire them as volunteer firemen?
Yes.
Okay.
I so moved.
I'll say,
So we have a motion, we have a second. I apologize, I was writing something
You
down.
used all that, I know.
No, I didn't, I was writing something down I need to ask you about. So-
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, do we have any further discussion?
Do they live inside the city, Justin?
Unfortunately, no.
How far out are they?
They are just over the hill, right there in Oak Ridge. on the west end. Right now, the last 7 members that have come are all outside the city. It's a trend out of the law departments. I'll use Claxton as an example. Claxton Volunteer Fire Department right now, in their primary go area, that's their main response area, they're not getting anybody coming in and volunteering in their primary area.
Does that put us at about 25 now?
That puts us at 25 now. Had one step away, he went full-time military, so that puts us at 25.
So these people now will be on call, or will they be on,
They're on call.
just, they won't work, they'll just be on call?
No, all of us are 24/7 on call. So it's based on our availability outside of our full-time job, outside of our family time. It's whenever we're available.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller.
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook.
Yes.
Terry Hall.
yes.
The other 2 items is just points of information. I believe in supporting those that support us. Unfortunately, back last month, I think it was last month, Blair Volunteer Fire Department had a firefighter get injured doing hose testing. They are running a fundraiser for him to replace his wages that he lost due to the fact of him being injured. That's this Friday, July 14th, from 5 to 8. He'll be at Blair Volunteer Fire Department. It's a hot dog and chili dinner for him. Unfortunately, that's a thing, a risk that we run. Second one is that we're supporting Blair in their event that Jason mentioned earlier as well. On July 29th from 6 to 8, this is their second annual back-to-school event where they're giving out school supplies. We wholeheartedly support them in this. This is a fundraiser for them, but for us, it's also a way of getting out in the community. So there's multiple vendors going to be there along with us. We're doing some of the demonstrations for them while they hand out the school supplies. So that's July 29th from 6 to 8 at Arrowhead Park.
It's a pretty big to-do, like they go all out for that.
Yeah. We was very surprised last year. It was one of those, we didn't know how it was going to turn out. It went really good, so we're looking forward to it again this year. So that's all I have for you guys tonight.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any old business at this time? New business. And before I get into the new business, well, we can kind of piggyback these two together. I see that Nathan and Toby are here with the Boosters Club and the OS Youth Club, and they are, do y'all want to step forward real quick more? And we can address this. Does somebody, either one, somebody needs to step up. Put your big boy pants on, come on. So here's what they are proposing. Right now, the girls softball team, they really don't have a place to store their stuff, and the old concession stand is being repurposed. It's going to look like the new concession stand, and right now they're not able to get insurance on roughly $70,000 to $80,000 worth of equipment, I think, maybe more.
There is quite a bit.
Is that
And
the Olive Springs High School girls softball team?
yes,
Well,
it is.
and it's more than just, it's really the Booster Club. We kind of operate most of we operate the concession stands.
So it'd be
and then
drink machines and stuff.
drink machines, the youth club stores, almost all of their uniforms there for all of their sports. So there's a lot of stuff that, is at risk if something happened in one of the buildings. The city's insured on the building, but we would like, if there was a lease in place between us and the city, we could insure those internal items.
Okay,
The youth club has roughly $60,000 to $70,000 worth of stuff in between the gator, the helmets, all the jerseys. I mean, it's just $12,000 just in basketball uniform.
so, okay, which leads me to item A on our agenda right here. Give me just a second. Discuss charging a fee donation for the use of Arrowhead Park for tournaments and events, okay? To which Mr. Van Hook brought up to me and to council, and I think this is wise and prudent, that we get with TVA, because he got all the documentation for us, okay? And provided to council tonight. Can you give us till, say, August, and we will give you a I'm in favor of leasing the building, so everything's insured. Because $100,000 is $100,000, I don't care how you look at it. That's a lot of stuff.
I've got a short-term possible solution, subject to everybody agreeing. Being completely honest, the council is looking for ways to offset the cost of maintaining the park, because it's our understanding that TVA does not allow us to charge an admission fee for people to come in. It's also our understanding that that does not include concession stands and that sort of thing. Because if you charge a fee to get in, you're discriminating against the people that might not be able to charge a fee, pay a fee. But if they get in the park for free, they're able to buy Cokes and hot dogs from the concession stand, or they're not. That's not discrimination, that's based on your pocketbook. So there could be a possibility, being the bearer of bad news, a rent payment that the city might like to negotiate. Now, you need insurance tomorrow, really tonight. So it might be possible to draft a short-term month-to-month lease for $1 a year, enabling them to cancel at 30 days notice and allowing the city to cancel on 30 days notice. And if the city chooses not to charge a more than a nominal sum of rent, then the lease might be modified in such a way to reflect that. If the parties agree to pay a larger sum, several $100s a month, and I realize you got the winter, where there's no money coming in, and I realize you all are a volunteer organization that doesn't have a deep checkbook, but I'm just being the bearer of bad news, then we would enter into a different lease that would set out the amount of rent. For example, it might be structured with a higher rent during the summer months when there's a lot of activity, and $10 a month for the winter months, something like that.
So could we go ahead and just say for $1 for the next 30 days, and then,
Well, I would probably make it every 30 days, because if you get it just for 30 days, then 30 days it expires. If you say $1 a month, then as long as they pay the $1, they can have the lease.
right, okay.
But at the same time, the lease can be canceled where the town can give them 30 days notice, or they can give the town 30 days notice.
Okay, until we get the situation.
Yeah, until we
resolved
get
with
squared to
TVA.
the TVA.
So, okay. So do we have a motion for a 30-day lease to
30-day month-to-month
Right.
lease for $1 a
to the
month.
Booster Club and Youth Club of Oliver Springs, just contingent upon what TVA tells us in the coming weeks and months. I think that's
From our side, we've got stuff in all 4 buildings,
okay.
you know, but
Okay, tell me the building.
the new concession stand,
Okay.
the old concession stand, baseball concessions, and the baseball field house.
Oh, yeah, that's right, there are 4 buildings. Yeah. Correct.
And all of those buildings have suffered some loss at some point due to flood, which is another issue.
Now, question. Since you're talking about a baseball concession stand and baseball field house, I assume you're talking about the Olive Springs High School baseball team?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I don't think we need to do anything that would interfere with the baseball team through the Roane County School Board. Do they have stuff in this that if we give a lease to you all, technically it would be exclusive, you can put their stuff out? And I don't think town council wants to work against the Olive Springs High School baseball team. Neither do you.
We're
But
the
I
ones
just asked-
maintaining the fields right now as it is.
Do what?
We're the ones maintaining the fields.
Yeah.
The youth club and the booster club and Kegley.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking of though is that may be true now, but at some point would Roane County come in and say, this is our baseball field that we play baseball games on, so we need to move your stuff out and put our stuff in? I don't know, see, because I've got to think everything can go wrong
Right,
before it goes wrong.
At this point, the Booster Club has pretty much everything that is in that concession stand at the baseball field. That's ours. And there are items that belong to the baseball program and the Booster Club in the baseball field house. So there's things that both of us.
I'll put a note that there are items of property owned by the Olive Springs High School baseball team and slash or the high school and slash or the Roane County School Board stored in there, that you all leave there. Okay.
Okay. So do we have someone who will make a motion?
I make the motion.
Ms. Van Hook makes a motion, do we have a second?
I'm second.
Second, thank you, Mr. Holland. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to know, now you're talking Arrowhead Park, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, that's not the 2 fields over across the creek, is it? That you talking?
No, what we're discussing is the old concession stand down Arrowhead, and the concession stand.
But, in other words, you saying you maintain that property now for us, or not?
No.
We could enter that agreement if you want.
Well, we have a guy who's supposed to be on the payroll doing that.
Yeah, no,
So the infields are maintained by the youth club and the Booster Club.
yes, they are.
They are mowed.
What's this guy we're paying doing it?
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, you know, we paying him money and then you're doing the work. Somebody's got to get straight. And he's got a lawnmower too.
Let's try to keep this on point here.
Well, I'm on point with you too,
Yeah.
but if you're doing the work and he's getting paid.
I'm not saying that I'm mowing the whole park or anything, but we make sure the infields are taken care of.
Yeah, for games to be played on, whereas a lot of times we take care of the mowing of the practice field, soccer field, right, and, yeah. They take, Toby, Nathan, Rusty, BB, they take immaculate care of those fields.
You do the outfield too, I guess. don't you?
Yes.
Because infield's dirt.
Yes, sir. And, you know, Coach Kegley takes care of the
Yes.
baseball field. It is, the city mows,
And that's his baseball season over?
baseball season's never over.
Well, I mean, everybody can play on that field because of the legality. We can't let nobody play on that field except for the school, high school. You can't have a tournament or anything because of what you're talking about, TVA.
There's tournaments down there.
There's tournaments there.
They're all high school tournaments.
No.
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 Big league tournaments.
Yeah, and they make thousands upon thousands of dollars when they do.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing.
Y'all have a concession stand when the other people are down there, the other teams?
So that is something else we would like to approach at some point.
Okay.
So there have been 3 tournaments, softball tournaments at the 2 smaller fields this summer.
Not run by your organization?
Not run by us, but we had to move the items that the youth club and the booster club had in the concession stand. We had to move those to a different storage area to allow somebody to use those concession stands. We would like to kind of have first rights of refusal if there is an event. We've got our stuff in the concession stand. Many of the things in there, freezers, have all been purchased by youth club or booster club.
So what you're saying is that you want the opportunity to sell to these non-your organization
Yes.
people that come in?
Yes, sir. If there's a tournament, we would like to have that option first. If we can't do it, okay, between youth club and high school, sure, let them run their own.
Well,
But
if they're gonna pay more than $1 a month, then if they choose to sublease it, that'd be their business.
We're the ones that's lining the fields for the tournaments because y'all don't have bases or equipment to line the fields.
Right.
yeah.
Toby's went down there for all 3 tournaments and lined the fields and put the bases out. The youth club or high school bases.
So, discussion A was charging a fee or a donation for the tournaments that Toby was talking about. And I'm not, please don't think I'm speaking bad of anybody, I'm not. Here's what's happening. So, summer league tournaments can be a very financially, there's a lot of financial gain in these tournaments. You can make $5,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 clear profit off these tournaments, okay? And our fields are being used because we don't charge a fee. We don't charge a donation. So the people that are hosting these tournaments are going from other fields. Now they're coming down here and we provide them free water, free sewer, free garbage pickup, free concession stand use. Yeah, free electricity, free restroom use, you name it, they're getting, and like, well, wait a second, time out. Well, you're making $8,000, $10,000 off of this event. And am I not right in my numbers as to how much you can make on a tournament?
Yes.
And they're paying to use the other fields that they're using for the same tournaments on the same weekend, and they're coming down here and getting yours for free.
How much do they pay, do you know?
Oak Ridge or?
Corey, you've been checking in on the prices, haven't you, on some of the places?
It's anywhere from $300 to $600.
Per night or per game or
Well,
per tournament?
Some of them's per day,
Yeah.
and some of them's per weekend, every one of them's different.
And, you know, some of those, the city lines lines the field, puts the bases out, maintains the field. What has happened here is they've asked youth club or booster club to take care of that part for them.
Do they give you all any type of, like the gentleman who had the tournaments that you lined the fields on, did he give you all anything?
That's, so he was supposed to make a donation, tournament that he had at the 1st of June, we've not received that check. The second tournament was in part a fundraiser for a young lady's family from the high school. We did not want any money from that, you know, I'll let money go to that family. 4th of July tournament, he has paid what he said he would pay for that.
Okay.
And I just need to follow up with him and say, hey, you've not taken that
Does the
first.
town have a parks director? We did at one time.
We do have
That's the guy that
a position, yeah,
Is it Phil?
it is.
get it.
It's the guy that holds it.
Does he also do the scheduling for the tournaments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly, I don't think the town can charge an admission fee based on TVA's
Correct.
desire that the property has to be open for the public. And I characterize, there's 2 types of groups. One type is the organized sports group that we're talking about here. There's another type of the individual group, I'll call it, an individual person that comes down to walk the walking track or shoot basketball. I think there might be tennis courts down there, whatever it might be. And either way, both groups can get in, but when you look at the structure and organization of these groups, where you all, your youth club is having to put the line down, the bases and whatnot, I'm wondering if, assuming TVA will respond, doesn't have any opposition, that our parks director would also have to decide on a fee per day or per tournament or some measurement that could be collected where that if you all put down lime and bases and had to spend the money, then you could be reimbursed through the city out of this funds. And see, all this has to be explored and developed, and I'll say organized through our parks director, because you're not part of the city, so you can't organize this and manage this, because as I had provided to town council, TVA gave a lease about 1975 to the town. The town has to, as part of the lease, use it for municipal purposes. Of course, municipal purposes is a public park that would involve the ball teams and whatnot, like it's currently using it. But at the same time, it's open to any ball club that wants to come in. But at the same time, the city could always say, we're not liming it, we're not putting the bases up, and they have to do it at their expense, and you wouldn't do it. Would they continue to come? See?
Probably not.
But then,
And I'm just raising hypotheticals because you may have reasons that you're doing this, and that's fine. But what I'm thinking out loud is the legal justification to charge each one of these teams X dollars per day, X dollars per game, X dollars per tournament.
well, the high school has to charge admission to their games. If not, the programs will not exist. The youth club, same way. If you're not charging $3 or $4 for people to get in, those programs will go away in a year. I mean, you can't fund it otherwise.
You can probably charge them for the ball games, but if I want to come down and walk, you can't charge me.
Correct.
Right, so if there's a large event, the youth club hosted a very large tournament, we took money up at the gate, because if not, you lose a significant amount of money.
I
I work the gate myself, a lot of that. And if somebody said, hey, I'm going to the basketball court, go right on. Oh, we're going to walk, we're going to go right on. And that wasn't an issue with anybody.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second for the Boosters Club and the Youth Club to lease the 4 buildings on a 30-day basis for $1 recurring until we iron out our details with TVA. So we have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes,
Teresa Van Hunt,
Yes.
Sarah Hall,
Yes.
Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Hey, Tobe and Nathan, what we'll try to do on that right of refusal, maybe take that up in August or September for the next, coming year, unless there's any tournament. Are there typically any tournaments in the fall?
There's one scheduled right now for September.
How many?
There's one scheduled in September that we know of.
Not through you all, correct?
No,
Okay. So let's try to take it up in August.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So that we kill 2 birds with 1 stone on A right there, saying that Corey and Mr. Van Hook, Mr. Joe will get with TVA to iron out the details of what we can and can't do, because again, we want to be prudent in our relationship with TVA. Number 2, or B, on the agenda, welcome new hire in the street department, Toby Maples. Rusty,
Yes,
yes. Toby,
yes, good,
we're good?
yes,
You give your seal approval?
I do.
Where is he?
We had a position open.
Where is he?
Where is he?
That's a good question. I'm wondering where he is. It's not a good look.
We tried to keep that open as long as we could, just trying to save on some money.
Are we welcoming him? Is he on probation?
He's on probation
Yeah.
right now. I'll bring you back in 90 days.
Okay.
So he's just on probation.
He's on probation for the 90 days, and that's the way all new hires would be.
Yep.
Just making you all aware of that.
It's only been, what, 3 weeks now? Ish, 4 weeks?
I've been very on.
Yeah.
How many people do we have on the street department now?
4? Well,
He makes 4.
well, you have Stefan, who oversees the inmates, hits on streets, then Rusty, and then under Rusty you have 4. But Stefan's under Rusty, so he's 5.
We had 3. Yeah, there's just 3.
There's 3 plus me. There's 4.
Correct. I stand corrected. I apologize. There you go, Ms. Bennett. Yeah. Tony, Stefan, Toby and Tom. Yeah. All right. Discuss fiscal year 2023, 2024 budget proposal. Corey?
Same thing we done with the water. We'll go ahead and get to this one first. Your other handout is the actual budget. It has the revenues and expenses on there, so we'll just get to this one first. In the realm of public finance and government operations, a few topics generate as much debate and contention as the idea of raising property taxes. Property taxes are one of the few ways that local governments fund essential services such as infrastructure maintenance, development, and public safety. However, the very mention of raising property taxes often elicits strong resistance from taxpayers and property owners. The reluctance to raise taxes stems from various concerns, including the burden on homeowners, the effect on fixed income households, and the potential negative impact on the real estate market. Unfortunately, we are in a position where raising the property tax rate is unavoidable and necessary due to the financial constraints faced by the town of Alder Springs. Over the past few years, both the general fund and water sewer fund have experienced significant losses. If both general and water fund revenues have been stagnant, our expenses have continued to rise exponentially. While we cannot change what's taken place in the past, going forward, we can do our part to be more fiscally responsible and transparent. We will be implementing new purchasing policies and strict guidelines on spending and debt management. Over the past 3 months, I've conducted a comprehensive investigation into the expenditure and revenue counts dating back to 2007 in order to build a complete financial history of the town of Alder Springs. By analyzing this historical data, we can identify the factors that contributed to the town's financial challenges and trace the timeline of its inception. My findings, especially over the past 3 to 4 years, were quite disheartening. Below are the general funds for the general fund expenses over revenues. On the left-hand side of your chart, 2019-20, you lost $145,000. FY 2021, we lost $121,000. FY 21-22, $186,000. And you're trending toward, in FY 22-23, $228,000 expenses over revenues. The other thing you want to pay attention to is your cash position. So there's the chart on the right. Cash position in 2019-20, you're at $1,086,000. 2021, $1,036,000. FY 21-22, $827,000. And FY 22-23, which is currently $461,000. Page 2. After careful consideration using numerous account analysis, reviewing economic factors, studying historical financial data, and speaking with numerous financial advisors and other city managers, I am proposing for the FY 23-24 general fund budget a 20-cent property tax rate increase, taking the property tax rate from 1.1358 to 1.3358, so $1.33. As arduous and difficult of a decision it is to raise property taxes, it was done with careful consideration on how the funds generated from a rate increase would be used. Again, these funds would be allocated towards crucial areas such as infrastructure improvement, public safety, employee health, insurance coverage, and wage adjustment. By transparently outlining the intended use of these funds, it's hoped that the taxpayers and homeowners will understand the urgency and necessity of the tax increase and the benefit that it will bring to the financial security and development of the town of Alder Springs. Page 3, for your general fund, this is a project where these funds will be used. Number 1, City Hall roof replacement. City Hall sustained storm damage earlier this year and is in need of having the roof replaced. On April 26, 2023, the town of Alder Springs received an insurance claim check from public entity partners for $13,445.83. Replacing the roof of City Hall building will cost approximately $23,000.
And I will say this, that was thanks to Mr. Joe Manhook. He pointed out to me, I was oblivious, and so I mentioned it to Corey, And literally within a week, they had their adjuster out here and gave us a check for $13,445, so.
So we just gonna put 9,600 of it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Number 2, highways and streets, road asphalt patchwork. Numerous roads are in need of paving or patchwork. Estimated number of road cuts, 30. Estimated number of potholes is 55.
Double.
So 2x2 repair is roughly $100. 4x4 cut would be roughly $320. 2x10, $400, and 4x20 repair cut would be close to $1,600. The estimated project cost would be about $35,000.
Is this a cost for materials and labor
Yeah.
and equipment?
No, that's just labor and material. Number 3, drain tile and culvert replacement. We have multiple drain tiles that need to be replaced. This will involve digging the road up, removing the old tile, replacing with a new tile, filling it with gravel, and the repaving of the road. The goal is to do 6 complete replacements this fiscal year. Material costs just for the culverts, a plastic 18-inch by 20 foot is $357. A galvanized 18-inch by 20 foot is $560. Now, to do those 6 complete replacement, estimated project cost is $24,000. Number 4, police body camera monitoring. This is something we talked about earlier, maybe a month or so ago when we were initially talking about the budget. Police department signed a contract last year to purchase body cameras and the maintenance and the monitoring for the next 10 years. Current cost of that contract is $27,500 per year, and that is just for the next 4 years. Next page. Number 5, employee health insurance. Again, this is what we talked about in the water meeting. On April 1st, 2023, the health insurance cost will increase 14.2%. The health insurance increased 31% last year. It's my understanding that management decided not to pass the increase along to employees that have family coverage for health insurance. The policy states that Olive Springs will cover 85% of the family coverage and the employee costs 15%. Based on what the finance directors told me, employees are only paying anywhere from 7% to 13% for family coverage. I'm recommending that we change the employee health insurance back to what the policy states, of which the employee portion is 15%. I'm also recommending that we increase the wages of the employees that have family health insurance coverage to cover the 14.2% increase and the additional percentage to make up for deductions according to what our policy states. Each employee's wages will be different. Here's just a rough, that does say I'm doing the spreadsheet, well, here's part of it right here. Currently, you cover 100% of your employee's insurance. Employee child, currently paying $16.66. Employee spouse, $30.82. Employee family is $33.32. So if you look at the actual 15% deduction, what it's supposed to be, they should be paying employee child $32.44, employee spouse $35.07, employee family $49.97. So if you look at the new health insurance withholding, it's going to go to $37.05 for employee child, employee spouse is going to be $40.05. Employee family is going to go to $57.07. So the wage increases to each employee that has employee child and employee spouse, employee family. The employee child would need a wage adjustment of 51 cents on the hour. Employee spouse would need a 23 cent on the hour. Employee family would need a 59-cent pay increase on the hour. Now, the total cost to us is going to be about $18,960.62, which has been accounted for in the FY 23-24 proposed budget. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Question.
Yeah.
raises will only go to the people who have insurance through the town, right? Not to anybody who works here that don't have insurance through the town.
Currently, that's the way that this budget's set up. Now, working with Chief Laxton, we've got a couple of things that we're working on internally. That will free up some money for wages, possibly 2 months into the new year, 3 months into the new year. We're going to review that every couple of months just to see where we're at. First opportunity we get funds to do that, absolutely all in favor of giving a wage increase to every employee. It's hard for me to recommend a wage increase to employee when I'm proposing a 20-cent property tax rate increase.
Basically, all you're doing is making them whole from
Correct.
their health insurance standpoint.
What they're taking
From
on
what they
pay is right
benefit.
now, yes.
Well, what we're doing is we're correcting what a former mayor and former town manager took upon themselves to do, is what we're doing. We're costing the people of this town for their mistakes, is what we're doing. And that's pitiful, and I apologize, I'm sorry for it, because I didn't have no idea what they were doing.
And you would.
Well, nobody here did until Corey stumbled upon it, what, Monday?
These past couple of weeks.
Yeah. So,
He called me one.
yeah.
Corey, regarding the police body cameras, we talked about that earlier. Is that built into the budget?
Yeah, that is
That's already built in?
Everything in here is built in.
All of this?
The only thing that may not be built in is when we get to the asphalt road cuts, we'll do what we can until the money runs out. So we may not be able to get to all 30 road cuts or even the tiles. But our goal is to do 6 complete tile replacements and as many as the road cuts and potholes as we can. Now, if we can do those over a monthly basis, 10 here, 10 there, the cash will allow for that, to get that done. Where we may get all of those, this fiscal year.
So let me go back to what Mr. Miller was saying just a second ago. Just like with the garbage collection, right? A little, plus a little, plus a little, plus a little is what has led us to where we're at. And it's hard to stomach. It's hard to process and fathom. But
These asphalt repairs, don't the state reimburse this?
On the state highways, they can.
Well, I'm talking about here on the 4-lane, is
The 4-lane, we can.
yeah.
they're all over the bridge out here on the 4-lane.
Yeah. And we've signed a $39,500 contract with TDOT just for that stuff. Any type of work we do on the state right of ways, we can get reimbursed for that.
That's doing the work for private contractor.
No, this is doing everything in-house.
We have a machine that don't work, right?
No, we have.
We've got everything to do this.
Something don't work, the roller.
No, we just don't have so we have the head that will machine the road, the milling. We just don't have a sweeper, which we don't have to have. It'd be nice to have, it'd be like more of a luxury item, but which would speed
That's
the
something,
process up.
to cover costs there, that could be something we can rent. We just plan out, we're doing the
Plan in
asphalt
advance.
jobs and rent it for
Right.
35 days. The final page, number 6, fire protection, fire hydrant replacement, maintenance, part 1. Town of Olive Springs has multiple fire hydrants that need to be replaced. Fire hydrants are not only used for fire protection, but they are also used to flush our water mains to maintain water quality throughout the system. The plan is to replace 6 fire hydrants this fiscal year and more if the funding allows it. Estimated project cost is about $16,000 or $18,000. Part 2, kind of what we talked about earlier. Fire hydrants in town of Olive Springs need to be cleaned and repainted to be NFPA hydrant color code standards. The bonnet of each hydrant must be painted the appropriate color according to the flows, gallons per minute. The easiest and quickest way to accomplish this project is to rent a plug oven from a hydrant cleaning system contractor. Estimated cost is around $14,000 to do that.
Again, that hasn't been done since Don Schilling was doing what Stephen does right now. So ever how long ago Don Schilling stepped down is the last time that those hydrants have been cleaned and painted.
About how many hydrants do we have in town?
200,
How many?
200 right now. That's not including the ones that was just added up on Garden.
All right, let's look at the budget real quick, if you want to. Did this sheet right here, this packet. So right now,
Hold on. We cut down a tree. We're fine.
Remember we cut a tree, so.
Go ahead.
that should have been laid on top, it's just a letter.
Hey, listen, man.
No, you have nothing
I
right.
don't.
See if you can do something.
Here. Is that that letter?
I don't have. I may have one.
If you go for the jungle there, you'll find it.
I'm sure of it.
Do you have one too?
Yeah.
Everybody kind of?
Yeah, we've got that.
I've left all the revenues, okay, what we're looking at's in the green. To the left, that's FY 2023, it's your current year. FY 22 is the audited data. I will mention the audit right now. I did receive the email from our auditors with the FY 21-22 audit. I'm currently going through that and typing up the management response to the findings. So that'll be something I'll work on the first next week. The next council meeting next Thursday, we'll go through it. The page one right here in the green, again at the top, proposing the 20-cent property tax increase. Tax rate will go to $1.33. Local property taxes, $722,600. If you want to look at the totals, for local taxes, $2,291,650. Very bottom, intergovernmental revenue, $188,181. Page 2, charges for government services, $44,600. Total fines, forfeitures, and penalties, $312,000. Miscellaneous revenue, $39,900, giving us total revenue, $2,876,331. Again, the two beside are your comparative years. Page 3. This is your totals for each expense account. And as you can see, every account has taken a cut.
Minus the city attorney.
Minus the city attorney.
And the court
And that's
clerk.
substantial. Those were, obviously, the city attorney, there's going to be fees there.
And I'll just say this from the mayor's perspective, and I told Corey this the other night, whenever I became mayor, there were certain things, I didn't want a fuel card, I didn't want a vehicle. I don't have keys to this building. You don't see me printing anything, any meeting I go to, it's in my personal vehicle. I pay for the gas. And if Ramona would not send me the check for $50 a month, I'll refuse that too. So I have done my dead level best to absolutely minimize the mayor expenditure on this town to a bare minimum.
As you can see, I mean, we've done our due diligence here as far as making the cuts where we could. I mean, some of them's, substantial cuts. I mean, there's a substantial cut to your police department.
What was the raise in the fire?
That's the project for the fire hydrant project.
Where you put it in here?
Yeah.
treasurer.
That's the county prepared for the budget, or the audit. The audit for the FY 22-23 is $50,000. Speaking to a few other city managers, their audits are coming in on 33,000.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So your very back page, I've left the insurance, retirement pension contributions, workers' comp, unemployed insurance, and stuff like that. The OSAI, you can see where the increases are there. Big one is 51520 employer share for your health insurance. Went from $358,140 to $408,996.
Would be insurance next year.
We're already doing that at the moment. We're shopping around a little bit right now. The insurance goes into effect August 1st. I believe it's all safe. We've got to get some information for a quote for them. Problem is, we've got to go through and figure out, make sure what's in-network and out-of-network doctors are in their close. That's one thing you have to pay attention to when we're quoting insurance. I mean, it's not worth it if the only in-network doctor you have is maybe one or two local. So that's one thing we've got to really look
Are
at.
we looking at more than one company?
Yeah,
We're also looking at the state system too, correct?
and we're looking at the state system, yeah. But that, like I said, that'll be a next year thing. Yeah. Very bottom, last page, page 4. General fund total expenses, $2,876,331. Revenues over expenses, 0. Do you have a balanced budget? And that's your cash and fund balances. Fund balance is $555,392.
This tax revenue will go into effect August 1st, September 1st, or
We've got to get the budget in before, but it'll be,
we won't, can't go into it.
October.
we won't really start to see anything until probably November, December.
How does this show a beginning fund balance of $555,000? Is that what we're supposed to have in the bank right now?
That's what we're supposed to have in the bank at this moment. You are correct.
I talked to Ramona today, and she said we have about $350-something thousand, and then there's a $50,000 CD, so that's like 400, a little over 400, so where's the rest of it?
Now that's, keep in mind, that's restricted. The CDs are restricted.
So that's not included the CD?
I would throw that at it just because it's restricted cash. That's your 555 fund balance does have unrestricted and restricted in it.
See, now, one thing, because I spoke with Ramona yesterday, so it just goes to show you how quickly the fund balance changes. So yesterday, the number was 390,000. Today it's
Well, she
357.
said there was a big payroll coming out this week.
Correct. And then next week, sales tax hits, so that number will swing way back
Keep in
up.
mind, this number was probably sometime last week.
Right.
Right,
Well, she's paid some stuff, I suppose, since
right.
then.
So, that's,
She told me that she felt like we could make it till the property taxes start coming in. She and I were talking today. But she felt like, we needed to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've only got $50,000 in reserves. Off.
So, I mean, one thing, and I think the supervisor sitting here will tell you, when I say we pulled in tight, we pulled in tight. Like, we don't spend it unless we have to spend it. We're holding positions open. which creates a burden on everybody else, right? So you can hope, you're trying to save money, fuel call or fuel consumption has gone down, so we're saving money there. I mean, we're doing all the small things right. It's just going to take a while to right the ship. And we need things to go right for a little while and not get hit with just some unforeseen expense or natural disaster that hits us and it just creates a massive overtime or something like that. I mean, so we're doing what we can do to control the controllables. I said all that to say that, and I apologize. Anything else, Corey?
That's all I have.
So we're gonna do this all next week, right?
Well, this is where we need the motion, and we'll reset the,
Okay.
Yeah.
set
It'll
the-
read basically the same as the water board motion.
Correct. So we'll do the next Thursday, right?
Yeah.
At 6:30, the public hearing?
Assuming we get a motion in a second.
Yeah, assuming,
I'll make a motion.
okay, motion.
Second.
Second. So next Thursday, the 20th, at 6:30, because we'll have our meeting at 7. So, all right.
You'll let
30 minutes or long enough.
Or not.
Should we start at 6? Just to get out of here before midnight.
Well, if we get too early, then people get mad because it
Right, you didn't give them enough
That's
time.
true.
I'd say 6:30, I mean,
takes longer, it takes them.
right, for sure. Okay.
We'll probably circulate a roll too of those.
It's gonna go in the paper too, right, tomorrow?
Yeah, or Saturday or
So
Monday.
we'll publish it on our website, our Facebook, social media,
Be on TV tomorrow.
TV.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so, okay,
Start tomorrow, right?
yes. Okay,
That's clear, so on that.
all right, so we have a motion, we have a second, we have our time and our date set. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown.
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook.
Yes.
Terry Holland.
Yes.
Yes.
We have had ourselves a productive meeting. It's a long meeting. And without further ado, in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Better not.
The companies fail to file their annual filings and they become administratively dissolved. It's kind of like not paying your KUB or your LCUB bill. And, that's sort of the way I try to relate things to folks because